Hello and welcome to the Fostering Success Michigan webinar series, Getting to Know FSM Higher Education Consortium. My name is Maddie Day and I'm the Director of Outreach and Training with the Center for Fostering Success at Western Michigan University. Before we get started, I would like to say a special thank you to our funders, the Kresge Foundation, the Havermill Foundation, and Western Michigan University for their continued support of the Fostering Success Michigan statewide initiative. The Higher Education Consortium webinar series focuses on the 17 campus-based support programs serving students with experience in foster care in Michigan. While each program is different, all programs have common elements which include a designated campus coach providing 24/7 life skills coaching, mentorship opportunities, peer community building activities, connection to campus champions in key campus departments such as financial aid, admissions, and advising, advocacy for students on campus and in the community, pre-college outreach and recruitment, and financial resources. You'll notice that there's an asterisk by financial resources because while each program has some element of financial resources, either through their program or through their institution, offered for students with experience in foster care, these financial resources vary program to program, so we want to ensure that you take a look at what each program offers and understand what best fits your needs. Today we are featuring the Washtenaw Community College REACH program. And joining us from the REACH program is Cathy Stewart, campus coach for the Washtenaw Community College REACH program. Hi, Cathy.
Hello. Hi, Maddie. Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, so happy to be here.
So to get us started, the first question that we have been asking everybody is around eligibility requirements for the REACH program. We have some highlights on here about program eligibility, but I'm hoping that you could share a little bit about eligibility and then what resources might be available to students who may not be eligible under these program requirements.
Sure. So the eligibility requirements that we've got here are just a snapshot based on a grant that we received from the state of Michigan. And so there are going to be lots of folks who are going to be able to be eligible based on those. But we want all students to know they are welcome. And we have a myriad of resources here at the college within our Student Resource Center. So whether it be a scholarship or a grant, we will make sure that those students are going to be connected to it, as well as being able to participate in the REACH program.
And Cathy, if a student is like a prospective student or maybe even a student currently on campus, thinks that they might be eligible or has questions about eligibility, how would they learn more and better understand what they might be eligible for?
Absolutely. So the best way I think is to pick up the phone and call me, because I can kind of give you some more specific details. But if you're just sort of perusing and curious to know, you obviously can go on our website, wccnet.edu, and under the search box type in REACH. But I think just giving me a call or an email is also another way that we can chat more.
Wonderful. And I don't think I pointed this out earlier, but we do have Cathy's contact information. We had it on the slide previous, and then we will have it at the end of the broadcast. We will also have the REACH program website link as well. So both are great ways, and I think it's really important for students, supportive adults, to know that it really can be as easy as picking up the phone and having a phone conversation with you, or maybe dropping by your office just to kind of learn more about what might be available.
Yep.
So our next question is about the REACH program itself. Can you share with us just some highlights about what students can anticipate, what kind of activities and resources are available through the WCC REACH program?
Sure. So WCC REACH, we just finished our second year, so we're a fairly new program, but I feel like we've gotten a really good start in terms of finding out what students have enjoyed the most. So in addition to, the one-on-one individual guidance that they're going to get in terms of coaching, that is going to be a central point of the program, but we offer a lot of social recreational opportunities. So looking at the slide on the the webinar here, to the left, the first one on the left is our recent trip to Cedar Point. So that was really fun. We actually joined the whole college campus and student activity department, and we went to Cedar Point for the day. So that was a huge highlight. Um, Lots of other things throughout the year that we do. Not in addition to life skills, we do. Students have done karaoke. We've done community service um, in the community. We've done several field trips. I know this year we have indoor trampoline park trip that we're going
Wow.
to go do in Sky Zone. I think it's Sky Zone in Canton. Um, we're going to do ice skating and quite a few other things for the fall and winter. So what I've done this year is really letting students take the lead and having some choice and voice in terms of what they'd like to do. And so this year we're going to kind of continue and do what students want to do.
Awesome. I think it's great to hear that while students are, at college and working on, their academic goals, that there's also time for fun and that the REACH program really encourages that, that it sounds like the campus really encourages that, and that fun is really student-led, which I think is probably the most important part, right? So having students identify what they think is fun, makes for successful events and probably some more, creative ideas, and also builds that, peer community that I think so many students, when they come to a college campus, find, it can be hard to find peers you can connect with, maybe even find time to meet
Yeah.
those peers and engage in those
Yeah.
activities.
Ab-
But yeah.
Absolutely. So the one thing too that I would highlight is that it's sort of voluntary. So being at a community college, most folks are just really busy, so they're on campus maybe more limited than what you would be at a 4-year. And so I provide the opportunity, and students do the best they can to get there. But you're not going to be penalized if you can't come. So you can sort of do what is the best for you. And so students have sort of, again, this year been able to take a lead in deciding, like, in terms of what fits with their schedule. One common thing is we always have food. We have really good food, and I always give students
Nice.
input about what kind of food students want, so they can always count on me to coordinate and facilitate and do lots of good food. And so the activities have changed. We want it to be team building. We want it to feel welcoming and supportive. And on occasion, we put some learning there, so that's always helpful.
hmm Well, and I think, it's really important to combine that kind of support and, the learning, the life skills pieces with kind of everyday activities, and then also to make sure that, students are having a break, enjoying life, having fun. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. So our next question is about Washtenaw Community College. So as an institution, can you share with us a little bit about what is special about WCC?
Sure. Well, we definitely pride ourselves in obviously academics. We have excellent academics with over 100 programs. We recently got a really huge multi-million-dollar grant from the state, and you may have heard of it. It's our new Advanced Transportation Center. So it really focuses on innovation and connectivity with regards to the transportation industry. So that is not my domain, but I know it's very cool. And so in terms of automotive and these cars that can like drive themselves or whatever. All this really cool software and connectivity performance related to vehicles. So that's a huge highlight that WCC has been spotlighted for. And I know a lot of students, we are local to Toyota, so we have a lot of industry partners that are hiring students right out of college.
Wow,
Um,
that's great to know.
yeah, so that's great. I think the affordability and convenience is what students probably say hands down really was helpful to them. So classes are 7 days a week, lots of choices in terms of day, evening, or weekends, as well as online. So that convenience factor, and then just us being able to remain affordable. So
hmm
we know that annual tuition across the state can be really pricey, and so our tuition remains really affordable and a great value, sort of saving students really thousands of dollars before they decide perhaps to transfer to a four-year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our application process is super easy. WCCnet.edu, it takes about 10 minutes. It's free. It's online. You don't have to worry about your SAT score. We will work with you and find the right level of classes for you. Um, and then of course, we're part of the Ann Arbor College Town, so really proud to have our neighbors at University of Michigan, Eastern Michigan University. We do have agreements with both of those schools that also have campus support programs, including Blavens and the Magic program. So we have lots of easy transfer options, not only to those two schools, but we do have agreements with hundreds of other schools over Michigan, across Michigan.
That's great. Well, and I think, obviously, the first piece that you started with the Advanced Transportation Center sounds like something that is and will continue to be a big draw for students as we see, all of the innovation happening in that arena just kind of growing and growing exponentially. So it's good for prospective students that may be interested in that to kind of know that there's a cutting edge center that they can access right there and be a part of at Washtenaw Community College. The affordability and convenience, I think, is such a huge piece, and especially because we always are mindful about keeping debt low for students, and then also ensuring that students, are able to sort of attend to the other life things that they have going on. So interesting to know that the classes are 7 days a week, evening, early, midday, kind of anytime that you might need to take a class, it's probably available. And then the connection that you have not only with University of Michigan and Eastern as partner institutions for transferring, but also that there can be kind of continued support through the campus support programs there, I think really makes Washtenaw Community College and the REACH program a great option for students who may want to go on to a four-year program or get their bachelor's degree, but for a variety of reasons may want or need to start at a community college. So knowing that they can continue their education goals with that support, that there's sort of this warm handoff between the programs. I think that's a huge piece of supporting students for success. So that's great.
Yes, thank you.
So the next question kind of leads in a little bit to some of the things that you touched on as far as affordability. So tuition fees and cost of attendance, of course, are significant issues. When we talk with students, usually the biggest thing that they bring up as far as concern about going to college is how am I going to afford it? So we have some information here kind of highlighting the different pieces of financing that folks should know about Washtenaw Community College. But can you kind of speak to these pieces and then also let students know what additional financial support might be available for students from foster care at WCC and possibly through the REACH program, and then how you help students navigate kind of all of this financial information.
Sure. Yeah, so when students come in, Maddie, that's the first thing we sit down and do. If you've never heard of financial aid or you're totally unaware, that's okay. We will get you all the answers that you need. So we have a financial aid person in our financial aid department who's quite close to my office, and so I will either go and get her and bring her over, or we give her a call. And so any questions that we would need to know, it's really nice to have direct access to someone and not have to wait in line or wait for a week. So we're going to get answers right away. We're going to help students make sure that their financial aid package is what it should be. So if they're eligible for Pell and TIP and Fostering Futures and ETV. So there's a whole myriad of things that they could potentially be eligible for. I'm going to sit down and make sure that someone has went over all of that with them. And then based on that, if there's still need there, the institution definitely has support. So we have foundation office that offers scholarships, and we have a REACH Foundation scholarship that's absolutely set aside for students. We also have additional scholarships that pay for books, tuition, childcare, transportation, and tuition within our Student Resource Center. So we're going to make sure that students have access to federal, state, and obviously campus financial aid resources.
I think it's, so great to know that, in addition, I was actually just taking some notes here so that I can make sure that I have kind of all of the information as well. But I think it's really great to know that, in addition to maximizing all of the available resources through federal and state aid that students with experience in foster care are eligible for, that there's also that institutional support. And did I hear you right that you said that there is a REACH Foundation scholarship for students who are engaged in the campus support program?
Absolutely. And so, we talked a little bit about eligibility. And so if students are in a position where they're feeling like that maybe they weren't eligible for TIP or there's something they're not quite sure that they're going to have enough, students are eligible and we will get them connected so that they can receive a foundation scholarship or a student resource center scholarship, either of those. But yeah, we were really lucky to have a donor come, I think it was a little over a year ago, and set up a foundation scholarship on behalf of REACH. So that's been great.
That's awesome. And I think really, often we see sometimes the holes in the financial aid package, they're not necessarily several $1,000s, they may be several $100s, but that makes a significant difference for students. And to be able to have a scholarship resource to access to kind of fill some of those holes, I would imagine really, probably relieves a lot of the anxieties that students bring to you. The other thing that I wanted to highlight, you mentioned that there is funding support for books, transportation, and childcare. And I think that that is so important. We understand that students have lives that are complex, that have, lots of different pieces in them. And especially the childcare and the transportation is, it's a huge piece of what students are having to budget for and pay for. And so knowing that there's financial resources that they can tap into, I think that's just excellent.
Yes.
So the last question that we have for you is, what are 3 things that we should know about Washtenaw Community College and the REACH program?
Well, great. I mean, I think what we're proud about here at the campus is also what we're proud about in terms of the REACH program, is that the campus is welcoming and it's supportive. Our classroom sizes are probably much smaller than some of the bigger schools, which allows for instructors and faculty and staff to sort of really be warm and personable with students. And so I think most students that have left maybe to transfer or graduate, they come back. So they feel a part of a family unit here. So I think that's super great that I think students are really surprised to feel really welcomed here. The second piece would be part of the REACH program, we've been able to build some really positive partnerships. So we've got a fantastic organization in the community that provides top-notch mentors, but we also have a really great partnership with the Ozone. And so we've mentioned this in the past, but I think it'd be really great to highlight the MORE support program. So MORE is a partnership between Ozone, and Ozone is a community-based agency that has a strong record of supporting youth in the community. And so what we've done here is really try to bring about emotional and academic support for students on campus, so accessibility. So although we have fantastic counselors here at WCC and they do a wonderful job, that work is much more short-term solution focused. And what we wanted to do is provide, I think, or strengthen sort of more trauma-based emotional and mental health support for students. So in addition to the REACH students, any student at WCC who's either been in foster care, if they've ever experienced a broken adoption, guardianship, or if they have housing instability, any of those barriers, they're going to be eligible to be a part of the MORE support program. And so we have a clinical therapist, his name is Dave Zelmer. He is an Ozone staff, and so he is actually on campus here 2 days a week in addition to being at Ozone. And so he is providing strength-based, very youth-friendly therapy services on campus for students free of charge. In addition, connecting them to any of the services that Ozone offers that may help them with either case management, housing, and so forth. So I think those are two things. What would be a third thing? I think, just as you mentioned before, Maddie, our partnership. So we want students to know that college is for them. And so we want to really meet their life goals in addition to the academic goals. And so if there's something that they need, we're going to be sure to hopefully connect to a community partner. And so we've got several students who are interested in transferring to U of M, and so we have a real strong partnership, not only with Blavens, but our MPOD program here at WCC. And so I think students find it very helpful that we've created some really collaborative, positive partnerships, not only in our community, but across the state. So if there's a school or a program that they're interested, if there's a resource that they need, we're going to kind of give them some one-on-one support and get them, be the connector for them.
Awesome. I think each of these pieces really speaks to kind of the intention that you have around meeting students where they're at, focusing on what the students identify as their needs, and then going beyond kind of the traditional, here's what post-secondary has, but really accessing kind of outside the box and the kind of within the community resources. And so having the campus of WCC itself feel like a welcoming place, that it kind of takes maybe what could be a really big overwhelming experience of coming to college kind of down to scale, so that students feel like they're part of a community. You mentioned sort of this family feel, and I think probably reach within that really builds that even more for students. And then, understanding that students who experience foster care, who have, some disconnection or instability in their life through homelessness, disrupted adoptions, that they have unique issues that, may arrive in sort of a mental health space. And to have that partnership with Ozone House, the MORE program, I think that really speaks to, again, your intention of recognizing that while students are there, they're involved in the program, they're on campus, to do the work of reaching their education goals, that there has to be attention to all of the other kind of life things that are happening with students as well. And so really creating that program, I think it's a wonderful partnership and speaks to just, I think, some of the strength in bringing in those community partners and kind of bridging, the silo that can be academia sometimes, so that it serves students in the best way. I think it just is a fantastic resource. And I know in the past we've actually had Dave on to do a webinar with us in our 2016-2017 Life Domains webinar series, and he spoke just about how much he enjoyed working with the students at WCC and EMU. And so you can tell that he's really passionate about helping students and promoting, their well-being as well. And then lastly, you talked about kind of this other connection to the community, sort of ensuring that any other resources that might be needed for students, that those needs are met through community partnerships, and that students are always supported to continue on and reach their academic goals. And that may take students beyond Washtenaw County, that may take them to other parts in the state, and that you work really hard to have positive relationships with other institutions. I know you're very involved with the Higher Education Consortium, so connected to those other programs, engaged in that work, and just ensuring that students have the ability to choose where they want to go and what they want to do and what's going to be the best fit for them as they continue their education journey. So I think those are great highlights, and just thank you so much for the excellent work you're doing. I love always seeing you portfolio with your students, and you always make sure that, when there's opportunities for students to get involved with leadership activities or things within FSM, you're always making sure that students are aware of those and promoting them and supporting them as leaders. So I have no doubt that if there are folks out there who are looking at WCC and thinking about the REACH program, they'll feel really supported and welcome when they talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maddie. I hope so. We'd be delighted to be a part of anybody's journey, and feel free to reach out at any point. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. So again, we know that there, are probably individual questions, concerns, particularly around the eligibility. And so we always want to encourage folks, if, you think, well, I heard this, but maybe that doesn't apply to me, but you still have interest, please reach out directly to Cathy. Here's her contact information on the screen. And, please, always don't hesitate to reach out to any of the campus coaches with your questions, because we know that there's lots of unique circumstances for everybody. Of course, you can always learn more about all of the campus-based support programs through our FSM Higher Education Resources Guide, which can be found on the FosteringSuccessMichigan.com website. You can also learn about all of the FSM higher education programs on the FSM FosteringSuccessMichigan.com website as well. And the FSM Higher Education Consortium has gone social. So if you want to follow the programs, kind of see what they're up to, see some of the fun things that they're doing, you can find them on Facebook. And lastly, if you would like to learn more about Washtenaw Community College or the REACH program, you can find their websites here on this page. And again, please be sure to reach out to Cathy with any questions you may have. Thank you so much, Cathy. We had a great time talking with you today, and we look forward to having everyone join us on our next webinar.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie.
Bye.